Are you ready to lock in your bets and cash in on the games this weekend? Join Jeff Parles and Alex White.
One of my favorite plays here is getting 2 touchdowns with Florida State.
Even though the total's been batted down a little bit, I still think it's okay to go under.
Chris Andrews and Vinny Magliulo.
I don't think this is a great Kansas City team. I think the Chargers win this game.
All right.
If you see a hook here, it's not going to last long.
The wise guys are certainly not going to play the favorites.
Every NFL matchup, every college game that matters, the spreads, the stats, and the smart money plays.
Are we sure either of these quarterbacks are good?
Hell no, we're not sure.
Bet your winning edge with Football Frenzy, streaming live on YouTube every Friday at noon Pacific.
This is speed. This is winning. This is losing. This is NASCAR in Las Vegas, the South Point 400, a NASCAR playoff race, October 10th through 12th. Get your tickets now.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Welcome in today. It is a Friday edition of Sports by the Book. First of 2 shows here today on the YouTube channel. I'm Jeff Parles. She is Alex White. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. Looking forward to this show. And then, of course, Football Frenzy coming up. Big weekend here, week 2, NFL. And then it's a little backloaded, but college, some really good games.
Yeah, the 9 a.m. Pacific slate tomorrow is relatively weak, but usually when we think it's weak, we get some crazy stuff.
That's my
Even
thought,
though
too.
Georgia Tech and Clemson's a pretty damn good game to lead off the day tomorrow, but you are right, tomorrow's schedule, and we'll break all the Saturday and Sunday games down on Football Frenzy. That comes your way 2 hours from now, noon Pacific time, 3 Eastern. Myself, Alex, Vinny, Chris, Joe D'Amico as well. We'll have some picks, so we'll be looking forward to that at noon right here on the Sports by the Book channel. All right, before we get into the 3 college football games today that are not extra board games, sorry, Syracuse and Colgate and Indiana State. Sorry about that, but we expect both of the favorites to take care of their business tonight. But Green Bay last night, the Green Bay Packers have fully put themselves into the category of, hey, this is a legitimate Super Bowl contender here in 2025. As they now back-to-back weeks have taken 2 teams that were in the playoffs. Of course, Detroit was the 1 seed last year. Washington was in the NFC title game a year ago, and they have beaten them up back-to-back weeks, 27-18. Somehow not scoregami last night, by the way. Packers were involved in the other 27-18 game that happened in NFL history all the way back in 2001. But, Alex, the final score is not indicative to how non-competitive this game mostly was. Washington was under 4 yards per play. Green Bay was north of 6. Green Bay did lose Jaden Reed to a broken collarbone on the opening drive, which, again, the Packers have enough depth that they should be able to withstand that injury, but that does hurt. Reed was probably their most consistent wide receiver, either him or Dobbs. But it was, Alex, a very impressive showing by Green Bay last night where, it ended up being a single-digit game. That was really a 2-score game, maybe even a 3-score game most of the way here with Green Bay moving to 2-0 and Washington falling to 1-1.
I think you nailed it right there. 3.5 yards per play for the Commanders, who we saw as a dynamic, explosive offense last year. Just 230 total yards to 404 for Green Bay. It's fun. People kind of crowned the Packers earlier, a couple years ago with Jordan Love taking the reign, and it was just too soon. But now, they look pretty complete to actually be able to make a run. Of course, the Eagles will still say that they are the top of the NFC, and I'm excited to see what we get when we see those two face each other. But right now, Green Bay looks like they've got all the pieces to make a real run here.
One other note, too, that I want to bring up on the Washington side of things. We'll get back to the Packers in a second, who are now, depending on the books you're at, Green Bay is one of the 2 favorites in the NFC, along with Philadelphia, basically everywhere entering today. Jordan Love is the 3rd betting favorite in the MVP market now at DraftKings, only behind a guy named Lamar and a guy named Josh. So he's up there with the elites of the elite. But I want to throw something out there with Washington. There you go. Only forget Philadelphia's in the rear view now here at the South Point. How about that?
Yeah.
The Packers are now the shortest shot in the NFC. Only the Buffalo and Baltimore are shorter if to win it all. AFC teams, obviously. Wow, boy, quick movement. But, hey, they've been dominant. But I want to bring up something on the Washington end of things that was a little bit alarming to me. They lose Austin Eckler to a likely an Achilles tear, which that could very well be the end of Austin Eckler's career. And what a good career it was if it is the end. They lack the big play down the field wide receiver. Now, as explosive as Debo has looked, and Debo looked pretty good again last night. Granted, he got more involved as the game got out of hand. Green Bay ran a lot of man coverage last night because they were not concerned about anyone beating their corners deep. And that is something that, Washington was able to do that last year. Now, look, a lot of Noah Brown last night, a little bit concerning for me. Ertz is another year older. McLaurin, even with the big contract, another year older. Their running back depth is not quite as good as it was a year ago now with Eckler out. I have my concerns about Washington moving forward. Now, let's see how they look next week. Week 3 on a long week for Washington. They get the Raiders, which the Raiders will be on a short week and traveling cross country. So it's not a terrible spot for Washington a week from now to get themselves right against a Raider team that will have it, again, playing late on a Monday against a division rival, short week traveling cross country.
I still believe in Terry McLaurin. I really think the holdout and, the lack of practice coming into this year, we're seeing him kind of preseason game right now. Nowhere close to midseason form and that connection that he had with Jaden Daniels. So I want to see that again, but it's really the run game, right? They don't have a threat there. And still we saw their rookie in Bill, and he was the best. And now with Eckler hurt, though, that definitely hurts them in their run game, which was a concern last year, too. It was kind of amazing how much they were to do without a solid run game. So we'll see moving forward, but I still think they'll be in the playoff picture.
Yeah, sure. I'm not expecting them to fall completely out or anything like that. But, again, it's going to be an adjustment. Defenses are going to – that's the first time I've really seen that defensive game plan against Jaden Daniels in the NFL, and it worked perfectly.
You're right.
So they're going to have to learn how to beat man coverage this year. And, look, McLaurin will be fine. He's never been an explosive downfield guy. He's made big plays down the field, but you don't think of him as like Tyreek Hill kind of combination more so than anything. And he needs stuff out of Debo as well. On the Green Bay end of things real quick, Alex, what we've seen from their defense, I think, is real. Because, yes, Detroit – new play caller. Again, first game on the road, tough spot. Short week for Washington, having to prepare and traveling. Not the best of spots, but boy, Micah Parsons looks healthy. Yeah. And if Micah Parsons is going to be healthy, that's a dynamic Green Bay's defense hasn't had over the last few years. Now, they get Cleveland next week off of a long stretch off, long week. Perfect letdown spot. With Dallas on deck, the return for Parsons to the Jerry Dome. But, boy, Green Bay looks like a monster through 2 games. And they have a pretty nice path here to get themselves to 4-0 into their week 5 bye week with 2 road games against teams they'll be favored against.
It is funny because the correlation, and we saw the numbers drop immediately when Micah Parsons went to Green Bay. And we even saw Jordan Love's MVP number drop. And it was like, hey, he's on the defensive side, but look at what it has done for Jordan Love and how comfortable he looks in the plays he's able to make, and not, turnover worthy plays, because his defense is solid and putting them in great positions. So yeah, I'm with you. I think that defense is for real, and I think it's definitely helped their offense. And we saw it last night. I mean, 292 yards for Jordan Love, 2 touchdowns. So I think it's a team to keep your eye on.
Packers, again, the betting favorites now in the NFC, the 3rd favorite to win the Super Bowl here at the South Point after a dominant, yes, 27-18 doesn't sound dominant, but it was dominant last night. Green Bay was never in doubt in that game a night ago against Washington.
A little bit of a kicker problem right now in the NFL?
Not if you're Chris Boswell, but, I didn't like Dan Quinn's strategy with kicking that long field goal, and both the Matt Gay's misses were from longer than 50, so I'm not gonna really hit him on that. The kickers will be fine. We kind of did this last year too, where it's like early in the year, it's like, what the hell's wrong with kickers? And then we look up and it's like, 50-yard field goals are automatic by the end of the year. So
True.
I wouldn't be overly worried by that. Now, if there were missed extra points and such last night, that's a different story. But there were all long kicks that were missed. And McManus made a 57-yard field goal to put the game totally away last night as well. All right, let's go to college football here. Friday, we got 3 games here on the card, Alex, and we begin in the Big 12. This one is a conference game, unlike the second one tonight, which, sure. Houston and Colorado. So the Buffs are starting the kid Staub, who came in last week after Salter got hurt. And remember, this was all Juju Lewis and Caden Salter, who's going to play between the top prospect freshman and Salter, who was good at Liberty. And now, out of nowhere, Ryan Staub is starting this game after playing pretty well coming in relief against, it was the Delaware Blue Hens. So got to take a little bit with a grain of salt, the newly minted FBS team, against Houston, who they were in a very weird road game last week. Yeah, it was in their city, but they had to play at Rice's Stadium with a conference game coming up next. And they played a pretty poor first half. There was only 7-3 at halftime, and then they kicked the crap out of them in the second half, a 35-9 win. It was on that defense forcing those 2 big turnovers. It's 4.5. It's 44.5 on the total. Houston favored at home. I'm curious your thoughts because I've been a little bit perplexed on this game here tonight.
I needed that too with Houston last week. I laid the lumber there with them over Rice, and they were able to get their second half. I don't love it, but I am on Houston again here today, laying the points. It makes me a little bit nervous because I was so high on Caden Salter and think he's power rated much higher than Ryan Staub. But you can tell Ryan Staub is Coach Prime's guy, and you could see it in the post-game interview with him. And he's a yes man. He sat behind his son. He waited and stayed at that school to get his opportunity. And now, thanks to injury, he's gotten it because he went 7 of 10 and had 157 yards and 2 touchdown passes. And while Salter was very good, 13 of 16, he didn't get him into the end zone. So I think they're excited about starting this guy, and that makes me a little bit nervous. But I like Willie Fritz on the other side. He's got a true quarterback now. Now, that I have to say, Connor Wegman wasn't great for Texas A&M. A lot of turnovers. But maybe Big 12 play is more his speed. Sure. And I think we've seen that already. No turnovers so far this year. 4 touchdowns, 65% passing completion. So I think we've got the better team, full team roster here with Houston and the quarterback. And I'm going to trust Willie Fritz here, -4.5. I think they can win by a touchdown.
So this was 43.5 at the open 5 as well. So it got bet up, and the dog has been taken, which kind of makes a lot of sense when it's involving Colorado, that the bettors are coming in that. I'm staying off of this. If anything, I want to see how high that total goes, and maybe I'll come under. I don't really trust either of these offenses. I was super lucky to get there with Colorado last week. I laid 23.5. They won by 24, and that was with Delaware's coach inexplicably kicking a field goal down 24 with 2.5 minutes to go, and they missed a kick. So I don't know. These are mid-tier Big 12 teams, right? Like, it's a really important game if either of these teams are going. I think more so for Houston, more so than Colorado. If Houston's going to pop up and go from bottom of the league to a legitimate, hey, with the right draws, with the right breaks, you could make it to Arlington. By the way, Houston plays at Corvallis. It doesn't play again until the 26th, and they play at Corvallis in a bizarro road game there. So very interested to see. There's not really a look-ahead spot here. So that's good, at least on the Houston side. Colorado gets Wyoming next week, so there's no look-aheads either way for both of these teams in this one. All right, the other Big 12 game that's not a conference game here tonight. This was a home-and-home that's been scheduled for a long time. They played last year in Manhattan. Kansas State handled Arizona. And now the Wildcats are limping into this game at 1-2. Of course, we all know what happened in Dublin. Close game, but they lose to Iowa State. They need a touchdown with 40 seconds left to beat FCS North Dakota 2 weeks ago. And then last week, as a 17-point home favorite, they lose outright to Army, who lost to Tarleton State the week before. So this has been as nightmarish of a start as you could have drawn up for Chris Kleiman and company in Manhattan. Arizona's 2-0, but they haven't played anyone. They played Hawaii, where Hawaii's quarterback was hurt in that game,
And
beat
tried
him
to play.
40-6, and tried to play and Alejandro was just not ready to play in that game. And then they whipped it up last week on an FCS opponent in Weber State, 48-3. So we don't know what the heck Arizona is. K-State's looked awful. It comes K-State won with a total of 54.5. I have no clue here, Alex.
Well, I wanted to ask you, because this is my least confident game of the three. I mean, I have my thoughts, but feels like a pretty good in-game, right? I think you'll know pretty early if K-State is back to being K-State, who is clearly the better team here. I trust Avery Johnson. Even though I really like Noah Fafita, I don't really trust Brent Brennan, the head coach there yet. And I don't like what I saw and how he used Noah Fafita after coming off a fantastic year. But looks like he's back, and you can only take so much from that. Like you said, not the best of opponents, where he's got 11.9 yards per attempt, but a lot of that is because of the Weber State numbers. So I think early on you'll know right away. And I understand the buy low on Kansas State, because if this was week 1, this number would not be -1. Yes.
I forget what we'll have to ask Chris and Vinny tonight, but I'm pretty sure this was a game of the year here at the South Point. So I'll double check with them after the show. I'm with you. I think you just gave me the perfect advice here. Let's watch this in game. Let's see how I'm more interested to see how Kansas State looks more so than Arizona, because last week Kansas State just wasn't on the field in the second half.
Right.
Their defense just got clubbed by Army's run game.
Which brings up a good point. Not a lot of time to go from the option to the air raid now here against Arizona, but that's why we can wait it out and see.
Yeah, I really don't know what to do here in this game. If you told me Arizona won the game by 17 and this is just a nightmare where K-State's going 5-7 this year, or 4-8 even, wouldn't be shocked if you told me, hey, this is where K-State, who, by the way, still with only one loss in the Big 12.
That's right.
In a wide open conference, this is where Kansas State turned their season around, even though I do not like Kansas State's schedule. Kansas State's got to go to Waco. They got to go to Lawrence. They get Texas Tech at home, and then they got to go to Salt Lake City. Good luck getting through that. This is almost kind of a game you got to get if you want to make sure you even make it to a bowl game this year if you're K-State. Because if you're 1-3, all right, you'll beat Central Florida at home. You'll beat Oklahoma State. But even the remaining home games after that, Colorado and TCU are no gimme. So kind of have to find a way to get this one in Tucson. Not an intimidating environment either for the Wildcats and the Wildcats here tonight in Tucson. All right, last one up. UCLA opened a 16.5-point favorite against New Mexico. Bruins have looked bad through 2 weeks. Get blown out by Utah in week 1. They made it close against UNLV, actually had the ball with a chance to tie late, but then another costly turnover does the Bruins in. It's 16 against the Lobos. The total is 53.5 in this one, Alex. The Lobos on the year sitting at 1-1. They actually played a reasonable game at the Big House against Michigan. Never in doubt at a cover. They only gave up 34 points in a game. They were getting 35. And then they struggled, but won by 10 against Idaho State.
3 turnovers in that game, too, for the young quarterback in Jack Lane, who came over from Idaho with the head coach here in Jason Eck. And I'm kind of fascinated by New Mexico. I'm leaning to those points there, but I really think we can get points on both sides. I think over is the play of 53.5, and common theme when you watch Football Frenzy later, but a lot of these totals have already been bet up, moving at least some of them 3 to 5 points here. This one, not so much. So I think that's still a pretty good number here. But like I said, I mean, I think that the quarterback here in Lane, he had 208 yards against Michigan, completed 66% of his passes, just terrible turnover-worthy plays, and 3 of them were intercepted. I don't know if UCLA is going to be able to do that same thing here. I like what I saw from Nico in the second half against UNLV. Good play action. And I think he can play better here against a defense like New Mexico. So over's my favorite play of the night, actually. 53.5 between these two. I think we're going to get points from both sides, but kind of intrigued. If UCLA is as bad as we think, is there a shot New Mexico could get the upset as a almost 5-1 dog.
Ooh, I was opposite here. I think this is if UCLA can't run out New Mexico, there are even bigger issues than we thought. You're playing New Mexico's defense played okay against Michigan, but that was the first career start for Underwood.
True.
Look, if you're a Maliava, you got to show us something. Like, don't make it be like you wanted all this money at Tennessee. I thought he was a product of Heupel's system and a weak schedule last year. I thought he was fine. I didn't think he was this elite player that he seemingly thought, or at least the people around him seemingly thought he was. It has not been good so far in Los Angeles. I'm with you, though, on this total. This total's only gone up a half a point from 53 to 53.5. I think this is an over game. I don't trust UCLA's defense to stop anyone. And if UCLA can't be in the mid-30s in this game, they got bigger problems on their hands. So I'm with you. I think this is a good over game at 53.5 now on UCLA and New Mexico. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We got, by the way, in the chat, we got Minidar. By the way, Minidar, I have the Broncos in my top 10 even after that horrible performance last week. So you can't say I don't dislike them anymore. I think the Packers are right there with the Eagles, and then Bob, always the contradictory to what we have to say. Let's see how Green Bay does it on the road, which is fair. Yeah. But look who's coming up, Cleveland. Even though it's a weird spot with the Browns in that week 3 matchup in Cleveland by the Lake. Browns, of course, get the Ravens, which will break that game and all NFL games down.
I was just saying that Bengals, Ravens, and then Packers. It's pretty brutal.
Fun start, right?
for Flacco and company.
We knew that Cleveland had a brutal schedule to begin with, but that has even looked even more. Oh, and by the way, Detroit's the week after that, and then Minnesota. Yeah, that's fun for Cleveland and that one. All right. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, we'll go through the baseball card. We'll tell you one trivia, vote in the poll as well. And then we'll wrap things up on a short, early show because we have Football Frenzy coming up at noon right here on the channel. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world.
Are you ready to lock in your bets and cash in on the games this weekend? Join Jeff Parles and Alex White.
One of my favorite plays here is getting 2 touchdowns with Florida State.
Even though this total's been batted down a little bit, I still think it's okay to go under.
Chris Andrews and Vinny Magliulo.
I don't think there's a great Kansas City team. I think the Chargers win this game.
All right.
If you see a hook here, it's not going to last long.
The wise guys are certainly not going to play the favorites.
Every NFL matchup, every college game that matters, the spreads, the stats, and the smart money plays.
Are we sure either of these quarterbacks are good?
Hell no, we're not sure.
Bet your winning edge with Football Frenzy, streaming live on YouTube every Friday at noon Pacific.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Thrilled to be with you as we always are here on these Fridays. We've got 2 shows. 10 a.m. And then, of course, as you just saw in the great promo put together by the team, Friday. Drew Dog, thank you. I didn't want to leave anyone out just in case if anyone else helped. So, which I guess we all helped because we all clips from the shows. But Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. But Drew Dog putting together that great ad for us. Make sure you watch Football Frenzy, the best there is, getting you ready for the weekend ahead in college and the NFL. All NFL games. A great chunk of the college football games on the schedule. All right, Alex, quick hitters in baseball, no pun intended on that one. Let's start in Pittsburgh and Washington, D.C., the site for this one. Pirates and the Nats, 2 last place teams. We can be quick on this one. Alex, Keller and Lord, your pitching matchup. And right now you are looking at the Washington Nationals as a small favorite at -110 here.
Can't touch this one because I would want to back Mitch Keller here, even though Brad Lord hasn't been terrible. He's had his spots, but there has been others where he's definitely gotten touched up. But I would be backing the Pirates, but I can't with their 6-game losing streak coming into this one. So it was a pass for me.
Let's go to Milwaukee next. It's been rare that the Brewers have come in cold to a series, but they just got swept in Arlington by Texas. Now they return home. Cardinals, again, just playing out the string. 3 games under 500 entering today's action. Quinn Priester and Andrew Palante, your pitching matchup. Priester's minus 75 and a total of 8 in this one.
What can we do here? I don't want to lay minus 175. I know they do have a little bit of a losing streak, but
Ooh, I have an idea.
Cardinals do as well.
Let's go over the total.
Over 8?
Let's go over 8 in this one, Alex. I don't like either of these pitchers. We've talked about Priester going backwards since the league has started to see more of him. Always a question of what we're going to get out of St. Louis's offense, but I'm surprised it didn't come 8.5, and we got 8. Yeah, you're laying $1.20, but I would go over 8. Again, Milwaukee trying to hold off the Phillies now for the top seed in the National League. We'll get to that wild card race in a few moments. But the Brewers trying to hold off. They do have the tiebreak on the Phillies, so
right.
They just have to end up tied. But Philadelphia hot again, only 2 games behind the Brewers for that number 1 seed in the NL.
I don't mind that at all. Or Brewers team total. I think you're right. They got to get hot here, and it's a perfect pitcher in Palante to go up against. I was almost even thinking run line with the home team, which is
don't mind that either.
Pretty wild too. But
even though we don't like doing that because we're not guaranteed 9 at bats with that home team. All right, let's go to San Diego Padres. Padre offense kind of went down in the dumps in the middle of this week, but they won yesterday 2-0. Rockies rockied yesterday. Game 2 of this series now, minus 270 with Sears on the bump. Gordon plus 230 on the other side. Total 8.5. Take the 1.5 plus 15 with Gordon in this one.
Ooh.
Maybe. It's not like this is a huge pitching advantage, if it is at all, for San Diego here tonight, right?
That's true. I mean, Dylan Cease is definitely their weaker pitcher coming into this. I can't get involved, though. I think the Padres are a rightful 230 favorite here, so it was a pass for me.
Are we Sears or are we Cease tonight, Alex? I got Sears on right now. That might have been a late flip on that one with from Cease.
You're right. It is JP Sears going here. Came over from the Athletics. Yeah, that was a late flip. I thought it was Cease here.
I think he's going tomorrow now.
So maybe
at the beginning of the show.
Maybe not too bad there then, taking the 1.5.
Let's go to San Francisco. The Giants are in this thing. So are the Reds, who we'll get to later. Only a 1.5 games behind the Mets after the Mets get swept in Philly and have lost 6 straight games, and the reward for that is Jacob deGrom. We'll get that later. But the Giants are alive. They're in this thing.
Yep.
But here you go. We talked about it with the Giants. Their schedule is pretty favorable in September, except for the 7 games against the LA Dodgers. Here are the first 3 of those 7, and they get them at home at Oracle, and they get to face Yamamoto, who's coming off of 8 2/3 of no-hit ball. Of course, the Dodgers managed to lose that game in hilarious fashion, but coming off his best start of the year against Justin Verlander. I got to give Justin Verlander some due here. He was awful up until the calendar flipped to about August 10th. But he has pitched really well the last month, and he's part of the reason that the Giants have been able to get back in this thing. The total is either 7.5 or 8 for the full game here. Here at the South Point, it's 8. There is a bunch of 7.5 out there still. I would be very cautious with this game, Alex, because the Dodgers really needed to see the Rockies this week, and they beat up on them. I just wonder if the Dodgers have just snapped back to reality after just that awful stretch leading into that series against Colorado at the beginning of the week.
I do agree with you about being cautious, because not only that, I mean, Yamamoto coming off of that almost no-no, that was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen for them actually to lose that game. But I liked the under. I thought both pitchers could pitch well here, and Verlander's coming off of 11 innings pitched in his last 2 starts scoreless, and Dodgers have kind of in the boat of, okay, prove it to me. Then if you can do it against a good pitcher, not just the Rockies. So I like the full game under. I think 8's too high, but I'm almost more nervous about Yamamoto getting hit up here by the Giants. So right now it's a lean to the under, maybe first 5 under. Maybe it opens up later on in this game, but I'm not going to make it an official play just yet.
Yeah, this is a stay off. Dodgers entered today in the National League West. 2 games in front 2.5, I should say, in front of San Diego. Remember, tiebreaker, Dodgers way. So if they end up tied with the Padres, Dodgers would win the division and be likely the 3 seed in the National League postseason. Still could catch the Phillies. They have 3 with Philadelphia next week. So they have an opportunity, but the Phillies, again, got themselves hot again this past week, I should say. All right, let's go to Toronto. Blue Jays taking on the team with the best record in baseball in the month of September, and that's the Baltimore Orioles.
That's right.
Finally, it only took until September, right, Alex? Chris Bassett goes today against Trevor Rogers, who's been tremendous for Baltimore since coming off the IL midseason. -130 on the Jays, +115 on the O's. Toronto leads Detroit by a half game for the 1 seed. They lead the Yankees by 3 and Boston by 3.5 for the AL East lead. I think I'd go the way of the Orioles here with how well they're playing. And this is actually pretty close to being a pitching advantage, if it isn't already, for the O's with how well Rogers has pitched now. And this is not a small sample size.
No.
This is now a 2.5-month sample size for Rogers at this rate.
I mean, his worst start right now is going 5 1/3 and giving up 2 earned runs to the Dodgers. And before that, 1 earned run, 7 innings pitched. He's going to go deep into this game. So I'm with you. I saw that plus money, and I thought, give me the Orioles +115. The only thing that scares me is this Toronto team. I mean, they've got to be the most consistent team from start to finish of the year. They're right there, and they find ways to win games. But the Orioles have been doing it in September, and I'm going to see if they can keep it going here against the Jays.
Up next, Alex, let's go to Cleveland. We can be quick here. Guardians did just take 3 out of 4 against the Royals to pretty much end the Royals' postseason chances. They technically had 3.5 out, Cleveland, so I guess they're technically still alive, but let's be real with ourselves at this point. But if you're going to get fat and happy and stay in the race, you get the White Sox, you got to take advantage. Bobby and Martin Perez, your pitching match, at -40 on Cleveland in this one, total 7.5.
I'm leaning to the White Sox here, coming into this one, winning 2 in a row. The Guardians have enough switch hitters in their lineup, but still really not great numbers on base percentage and OPS against lefties. So I think Martin Perez can pitch pretty well here today. So it's a lean. I'm probably not going to jump in. 2 bad teams. It's not really worth it taking that +125 here.
Up next, let's go to Boston. Big series, Yankees and Red Sox. Battle for the top wild card. And you know what? If Toronto has a bad weekend, the winner of this series is going to be even closer to the Jays by the end of it. Yankees have played 1 less game, but the Red Sox lead the season series. So huge series coming up here at Fenway for these two teams. Just want to give you the exact record for the Yankees against the Red Sox this year. The Yankees and the Red Sox. Red Sox have already clinched the season series, so there is no path back to clinch the season series for the Bombers. But if you take 2 out of 3, you'll at least stay in front. It's the LG matchup. Gil and Giolito, your pitching matchup. A little surprised by the favorite in this one. I expected Boston to be favored. -120 on the Yankees, total 9, Alex.
Favorite bet of the day right here, Boston Red Sox +105 full game. I've been talking about Giolito for a while now. In last 5 starts, most he's given up is 3 earned runs. It was to the Yankees, but I think he can pitch well here. That was in New York. This is at home, one of the best home teams, the Red Sox. Think, too, it might have been a little bit of an emotional game for the Yankees yesterday. Now they're going to Fenway and have to face their rivals. So I'm taking the Yankees getting a plus price in game 1. I'm taking the Red Sox getting a plus price here in game 1.
Sox +105 at home again with Giolito on the bump against Gil. All right, let's go to Seattle. Boy, Mariners have played a lot of extra innings the last 2 days. Back-to-back 12-plus inning games, 13 on Wednesday, 12 last night, but they walk it off. They find a way.
Yes, they did.
They are in first place technically now via the tiebreak over Houston. So here you go. All you can hope for if you're the Seattle Mariners to potentially have that best of 3 in your ballpark when you're still behind the Yankees and the Red Sox as well. It is Castillo against Kikuchi. So old friend alert for the Mariners. -180 on Seattle, +160 on the Angels, and a total of low 7.5 tonight in the Pacific Northwest, Alex.
All numbers feel just right in this one with Castillo at home with the start with the Mariners. The only thing that makes me nervous is those back-to-back extra inning games, but I'm not going to get involved here. I was on the Angels yesterday and failed to get there barely, so pass for me between these two.
All right, let's go to interleague. We'll go Dayball and Wrigley, Cubbies and Rays. Battle of the Bees, Boz and Boyd. Boyd is minus 160 for Chicago. 7.5 your total in this one at Wrigley. Wind is blowing in on top of a good pitching matchup in this one.
Ooh, let's see if we can take off some for that. I think we can. We're already taking off half a run for Matthew Boyd on the bump and then take some off for the wind blowing in. So I do like under 7.5 here. I think that's a good play. I also like the Cubs. Like to back Matthew Boyd whenever I can when he is at home. So lean, I'm probably not going to lay minus 160 here, but I like under 7.5 a lot.
Up next, let's go to Philadelphia. The Phillies could technically clinch the division this weekend if they sweep and the Mets get swept by the Rangers, which I would say is very much in play with how things are going right now for both teams. Walker Buehler on the bump for Philadelphia tonight against Michael Lorenzen. Minus 135 on Buehler, the newly acquired Walker Buehler from Boston, and a total of 9 in this one. Again, Phillies, they've won. The NL East is over. It's just a matter of holding on to the bye and also potentially trying to catch Milwaukee for the top seed, Alex.
Is this his first start for the
I have
Phillies?
to double check that, but I believe it is because it's not been long since he came over from the Red Sox. Yeah, he hasn't pitched since August 24th, so it is his first start.
Okay. I think we're going to get runs on both sides here. I know the total's pretty high at 9, but I do lean to the over here. As long as the Phillies don't get too comfortable, and I'm sure they want to stay hot, so keep those bats going. I definitely like over in this one.
Let's go to Miami next. Tigers, again, a half game behind Toronto for the number 1 seed in the American League. And they got the ace, the best pitcher in baseball, Tariq Skubal on the bump tonight, minus 190. Alcantara on the other side is plus 170. The total is 7. Oh, we get 3.5 in the first 5, probably. Wish it was 4, but I think I'd still go under 3.5 with these pitchers. Alcantara's pitched better of late as well, Alex.
He really has. And if you've noticed, I mean, they step up too when they got another good pitcher on the other side. So I think we'll get Sandy's best stuff here today. So I like full game under. I like first 5 under. I feel like Scubal's going to go pretty deep into this game too. So might even be more beneficial going full game instead of that 3.5. But I'm kind of worried about Miami's bullpen coming in. So that makes it a little tough.
Yeah, tough one. Again, Marlins done. Tigers trying to get that 1 seed. They're going to win the American League Central. Just a matter of see if they can get the entire American League playoffs through Comerica Park. And by the way, with the it's still going to be tough for any American League team to get the number 1 seed now with the Phillies and the Brewers with the 2 best records in baseball.
Thinking about what the Tigers did to the Yankees bullpen just this week, we probably go with you under 3.5 first 5.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that as well. And 2 out of 3 in the Bronx for the Tigers. They did lose yesterday. All right, let's go to Queens. The Mets are in free fall yet again. It feels like I've said that about 9 different times in the last 3 months. But they have the young rookie, Jonah Tong, making his 3rd career start, and they will face Jacob deGrom for the first time since deGrom has become a Texas Ranger. I have no idea how the Mets are favored in this game, Alex. I don't think they're going to score tonight. I think this would be actually a team total under on New York if we want to go that route. Hell of a spot for Tong. Mets lead is down to 1.5. It's not the shortest lead they've had in this run. It was down to a half a game earlier in the summer and then was popped back up to 4 over the weekend. But again, Mets have lost 6 in a row. I'm a little forward they're favored in this game with a pitching advantage to Texas. By the way, the Rangers are hot and only 2 games out of a playoff spot themselves now as well.
I bet reverse run line there. We could probably get a really nice price here on the Rangers to win by 2. It is deGrom, though. It's going to be a low-scoring game. He's going to pitch great. He's not going to get a lot of run support here. So I like the Rangers side. So minus 105, I think that's the play here. With the young pitcher in Tong, he kind of reminds me of Mizorowski, right? You can see the talent is there, but not really polished just yet. So I definitely think there's a big pitching advantage here with Jacob deGrom, and the Rangers are definitely the hotter team.
Let's go to Atlanta next, Alex, and this is danger zone for Houston, where the Astros have blown the division lead. We're all knotted up in the AL West with the Mariners, again, big favorites today. And the Stros are a dog tonight against one of the few bright spots for Atlanta's pitching this year in Waldrop. Murray on the other side for the Astros. Houston, by the way, just so you know, the Astros and the Mariners have 1 series left. And the season series is tied at 5 games apiece. So whoever wins that final series of the year, or I should say of the year between those two teams, which is coming up next weekend in Houston, will have the tiebreaker and will likely win the division more likely than not at that point. I don't know what to do here. This feels like a good price on Waldrop, who's been awesome, but I don't know. You really want to lay a price with Atlanta against a team that's better than them at this rate?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't think Houston's all that great at this rate either.
No.
So minus 120, I think that's a pretty good price. I wouldn't even really consider laying anything nowadays where that is kind of the straddle there. But how are we getting 9 runs with both of these teams? I mean, are we expecting the Braves? It is a bullpen day for the Astros, but I think that 9's a little bit too high here. I mean, Waldrop on the other side, he's really gone at least 5 innings and just 1 earned run, 2 to Seattle coming into this one. But I mean, he's gone 6 and 7 in 2 of his starts against Cleveland, the White Sox, and then there's 6 innings against Miami. So how the Astros bats are right now, I think he's going to pitch well, and I think he's going to go deep into this game. So maybe it's Astros team total under. I think I went a long way around of finding it, but I like that. That's probably the best bet on the board there for me.
Yeah, and I'll just say this for the Stros, where it's been a weird year, right? Like they were in complete command of the division about 2.5 months ago, and it kind of reverted to this team that I thought that they had a real shot of missing the playoffs this year. I don't think they will. They're still 2 games clear of the Rangers for that final wild card spot. Just real quick on the going back to the handy dandy standings grid. The Astros and the Rangers this year, they have 1 more series left, and the Astros need to sweep that series in order to win the season series. So,
where is it?
Here, I'll give you that real quick. That is this upcoming week in Houston. That's the next series up. So, again, at least the Astros get those series at home that matter a ton. But boy, it was a tiebreak to both of them. You playing with fire. You're playing with fire if that's the case, if you're the Houston Astros. All right. Quick hitter in Minnesota. Brandon fought Pablo Lopez. Lopez is the favorite in this game for the Twins at minus 140. 8.5 the total. Anything to be done here, Alex?
I mean, it would only be a look to the Diamondbacks here with Brandon Pfaadt going plus 125. And I know I've been a little tough on him, but he's been a little inconsistent. I think it's pretty even here with him and Lopez. And I like the Diamondbacks bats a lot more than I like the Twins. So lean to the dog.
And then the last one on the board, gigantic game for the Reds. Again, Cincinnati owns the tiebreaker on the Mets, so they just have to be tied after 162 in order to make the postseason for the first time since 2020. And they get the A's. I see it's unlisted as no listed starting pitcher for the A's. Alex, if you got one, let me know. But the A's are still favored here against Brady Singer, which is interesting to me. I think the total's too low at 10. That's all I'm going with here. Not that I trust Cincy's offense, but it's 85 degrees and the wind's blowing out. I'll take over 10 in this spot here, regardless of who's going for the Athletics.
I think it is JT Ginn, who we saw a lot of at AAA here. And then he had a lot of injuries, though, this year, up and down there. I'm confused with the bettors because it looks like it's been a lot of action on the Athletics here now, $1.25 at home for such a big game for the Reds. I guess that's kind of what the Reds have done all year, right? Haven't taken advantage when they could. But I think this is a red spot. I think Brady Singer's going to pitch well here, and I think you're getting a lot of value getting plus 110 here with Cincinnati. Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Cincy's not a favorite in this game. Reds get Hunter Green tomorrow, so there's a real chance the Reds are in the command of the wild card position, controlling their own destiny by the end of tomorrow night. All right, we'll take a break in a second to get the whiteboard, and we'll tell you everything that happened with trivia and such, but just wanted to at least remind everybody, all of the parlay cards are now live here at the South Point. I'm going to be like I'm reading a book here to you guys. The light yellow is the big teaser special that's available here at the South Point and up at the Rampart. Of course, this one with the white with the red text is my always favorite reverse teaser in the NFL. The white super teaser one, this is the Sean special, right, Sean? You love the super teaser, right? 15 out of 15 pays 65-2. And then the 2 cards that had the gigantic winners this past week, the half point, well, actually, we'll start with this one. This is the ties win, 500-1, $40
turned into 20K for one better here at the South Point on a 10-leg ties win parlay. 10 legs, 500 to 1 on that one. And then the other one, the half-point card, see 20K turned into 14K, 700 to 1 on that half-point card that won this week here at the South Point in week 2 of college football and week 1 of the NFL. So all the cards. Sorry, Sean, I made a mess of your way of it here, but there you go, cashing in this week for some bettors here at the South Point. All right.
Good and bad to see those parlay cards, especially for our friend Sean, because that's
he's been
his
trying
dream.
for years now to get that 10 and 10.
2.5 years, yeah.
He's been trying for years.
Hey, you don't know how long those bettors could have been trying for a long time,
all it takes is one, right?
Yeah.
That's all that matters. One, and you'll remember it for the rest of a life.
You'll get it, Sean. We believe in you.
We do. All right. I don't think we need a break here, actually, Ryan.
No.
I think we can go to the end. The poll question first: which top 25 team, and the obvious ones, these were all a few underdogs, a few favorites were put in this. So, which top 25 team is most likely to go to 3-0 this week? It was Tennessee, South Carolina, South Florida, and Utah. Utah's the biggest favorite. They got 52% of the vote. Ryan, who was second in this vote? Was it South Carolina? We're gonna. Wow. Okay. All right. We got some believers in the Vols who are a short dog against Georgia at the home this week. So Utah gets the win in the poll, but Tennessee and South Carolina have the small favorite / underdog variety on that one. All right. Here's a trivia question. On this date in 1930, Baseball Hall of Fame catcher Al Lopez hit the last officially recorded bounce home run at Ebbets Field, in which the ball bounced before leaving the field. What term is used today to describe this play in baseball when it bounces from in play to out of play? That's, of course, the ground rule double, the automatic double. They actually did allow that back in the day. They took until 1930 for the ground rule double to be in Major League Baseball rules. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Wow. All right. That's fun. Nick got the win here today on that bounce home run, which is now, of course, a ground rule double. Automatic double we took rule book double, whatever you wanted to take in that one. All right, Alex.
Is that a tie? We're done with September. They tied.
They tied?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, we're new rules coming for the trivia question on Monday, so we'll be on the lookout for that. All right, Alex. Whiteboard. Ready to roll here? Baseball and some college football.
Yes, hopefully better than yesterday where neither of my dogs got there for football, but we're going to try again. But we're going with an over. UCLA, New Mexico. We're going to just root for points here in this one. I do think both offenses are better than the defenses. So 53.5. I made it closer to 58. Let's get to that one with points. Brewers, I don't usually do this, but I'm going run line here with the home team because when they score in bunches, and you're getting a nice plus price there. I do think that Priester's the much better pitcher than Andre Palante on the other side. Red Sox, I'm kind of fading the Yankees off an emotional win yesterday. And Giolito, one of my top pitchers I like to back at home, getting plus 108. That's the best. These are the best numbers that I saw, too. And I'm going to try and break the streak here. So if JR and Nick are mad at me, I'm sorry. But Reds, I'm taking a shot here for them to win this game, plus 114 on the road against our very own Athletics.
There you go. There's the whiteboard here for Friday, September 12th. We have a second show coming your way in an hour and 12 minutes from now. 12 noon Pacific time, 3 Eastern. Myself, Alex White, Vinny Maliola, Chris Andrews, get you ready for the week ahead in college football and the NFL on Football Frenzy on a Friday, as always, here at the South Point studio on the Sports by the Book channel. Make sure you subscribe. Be here at noon. Yep. And, of course, we'll go for 2 hours, an hour on college, an hour on the NFL, every single Friday for football season right here. Football Frenzy, all 4 of us on the desk. All right. So
I'm looking forward to it. We got an hour to get ready, but then 2 hours, back-to-back, college, NFL. Can't wait.
It'll be a lot of fun, to say the very least, here coming up at noon. Good job by Ryan and Sean here today. Good job on that promo by our friend Drew Dog as well, Jerry Ann here as well. I'm Jeff. She's Alex. We'll see you again in an hour and 12 minutes at noon Pacific time for Football Frenzy right here on Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio.
Are you ready to lock in your bets and cash in on the games this weekend? Join Jeff Parles and Alex White.
One of my favorite plays here is getting 2 touchdowns with Florida State.
Even though the total's been batted down a little bit, I still think it's okay to go under.
Chris Andrews and Vinny Magliulo.
I don't think this is a great Kansas City team. I think the Chargers win this game.
All right.
If you see a hook here, it's not going to last long.
The wise guys are certainly not going to play the favorites.
Every NFL matchup, every college game that matters, the spreads, the stats, and the smart money plays.
Are we sure either of these quarterbacks are good?
Hell no, we're not sure.
Bet your winning edge with Football Frenzy, streaming live on YouTube every Friday at noon Pacific.